This new radar makes billion-dollar stealth jets obsolete. For decades, nations have poured trillions of dollars into a single, dominant idea: invisibility. It's a simple belief: if you can't be seen, you can't be stopped. This advantage, bought with mountains of cash and secret research, has defined modern warfare. But what if a breakthrough in physics is about to make that entire investment worthless? What if the most advanced, billion-dollar stealth jets are suddenly as visible as a commercial airliner? This is the story of how the bizarre laws of quantum mechanics are being harnessed to detect the undetectable, and how it could end the age of the invisible aircraft. The trillion-dollar bet on invisibility ***. To really get why this is such a big deal, you have to understand the staggering amount of money riding on stealth. We're not just talking about a few secret planes. This is an entire military doctrine built on being hard to see. The concept is simple: if an enemy's radar can't find, track, or lock onto your jet, you can pretty much do whatever you want. You can gather intelligence, hit critical targets, and own the sky, all while being a ghost in the machine. This whole journey into the unseen kicked off during the Cold War with projects like the F-117 Nighthawk. It was a marvel of faceted angles that looked more like an alien ship than a jet, and it was the first operational aircraft built around stealth. Its success in the first Gulf War was a watershed moment, proving that invisibility was the new king of the battlefield. But the F-117 was just the start. The true titan of the stealth age is the B-2 Spirit bomber. With a price tag of roughly $2 billion per plane back in 1997, it's the most expensive aircraft ever built. That iconic flying wing design isn't for looks. Every curve is engineered to scatter radar waves, shrinking its radar signature to the size of a large bird. They only ever built 21, a testament to their astronomical cost, but their strategic value was considered priceless. Then came the fifth-generation fighters. The F-22 Raptor, the undisputed king of air-to-air combat, combined stealth with insane agility and sensor fusion. Its job: clear the skies of enemy planes before they even know it's there. Following that was the F-35 Lightning II, designed to be the jack-of-all-trades for the 21st century. While it's been plagued by delays and cost overruns, the F-35 program is projected to have a total life cycle cost of over $2 trillion, making it the most expensive weapons program in human history. That colossal sum is for thousands of jets meant to be the backbone of the U.S. military and its allies for the next 50 years. And the spending continues. The future of American air power is the B-21 Raider, the next-gen stealth bomber that's in flight testing right now. It's designed to be even stealthier than the B-2, and the program is estimated to cost at least $203 billion for a fleet of 100 aircraft. The B-21 is being built with an open architecture, meaning it can be upgraded quickly to counter new threats. When you add it all up, the F-117, B-2, F-22, F-35, and B-21, you're looking at a multi-trillion-dollar bet, placed over half a century, on one single principle: the physics of conventional radar can't reliably beat the physics of stealth. For decades, that bet has paid off. But physics is a funny thing. Just when you think you've mastered the rules, you discover a whole new rulebook. And that new rulebook is called quantum mechanics. The old game: how radar and stealth played cat and mouse ***. Before we get into the quantum weirdness, we need to understand the classic game of hide and seek that's defined air combat for almost a century. The cat is radar, and the mouse is the plane trying to hide from it. The idea behind traditional radar is surprisingly simple. Imagine you're in a dark cave and you shout to see if there's a wall ahead. You listen for the echo. Radar does the same thing, just with radio waves instead of sound. An antenna blasts out a pulse of energy, and if it hits something like a plane, some of it reflects back. A computer then analyzes the returning signal to figure out the object's location and speed. For years, the way to improve radar was to shout louder with more power and get better ears with more sensitive receivers. But engineers soon realized that instead of just trying to outrun the cat, the mouse could learn to become invisible. And that was the birth of stealth technology. Stealth isn't one single thing, it's a whole suite of tricks. First is shaping. Early stealth jets like the F-117 used flat panels angled to deflect radar waves away from the receiver, like a tilted mirror reflecting light away from your eyes. Modern stealth aircraft like the B-2 and F-35 use complex curves to do the same thing, scattering the energy in so many directions that only a tiny fraction ever makes it back. The second ingredient is radar-absorbent material, or RAM. This is a special coating applied to the plane's skin. Instead of reflecting radar waves, RAM is designed to absorb them, turning the energy into a tiny bit of heat. It's like lining the cave with foam padding, your shout gets muffled, and no echo returns. Everything else about a stealth aircraft's design serves these two principles. Weapons are carried inside to keep the surfaces smooth. Engine inlets are curved to hide the spinning turbine blades. Even the cockpit canopy is coated with a thin layer of gold or indium tin oxide to stop radar waves from bouncing off the pilot's helmet. The goal is to shrink the aircraft's radar cross-section, or RCS, which is just a measure of how visible it is to radar. A big old B-52 bomber might have an RCS of 100 square meters. A modern F-16 is about 1 to 5. A top-tier stealth jet like the F-22 or B-2 is rumored to have an RCS the size of a marble. This is the game. Radar shouts, and stealth aircraft are designed to be a perfect void, absorbing and scattering that shout so nothing comes back. For half a century, the stealth designers have been winning. But now, reports, mainly out of China, have begun to surface about a new technology that doesn't just play the game differently, it flips the whole table over. A technology that doesn't rely on echoes, but on a bizarre property of the universe known as quantum entanglement. The new rules, entanglement and the quantum shadow, ****. This is where things start to feel like science fiction. To understand how quantum radar threatens to undo decades of stealth innovation, we have to step into the strange, probabilistic world of quantum physics. At the heart of this new tech is a phenomenon Albert Einstein famously called spooky action at a distance, quantum entanglement. Imagine you have a pair of magic coins. They're linked in a special way. If you flip one and it lands on heads, you know, instantly, that the other coin, no matter how far away, has landed on tails. Before you look, each coin is in a fuzzy state of uncertainty, but the moment you measure one, the state of the other is instantly known. They are entangled. The theory behind quantum radar, known as quantum illumination, tries to do this with photons, the particles of light. Here's the basic idea. A special crystal generates pairs of entangled photons. Think of them as our magic coins. For each pair, one photon, the idler, is kept at the radar station. Its twin, the signal photon, is sent out toward the target area. Now, here's the crucial part. The environment is full of background noise, other photons from the sun, TV signals, you name it. A conventional radar struggles to pick its faint echo out of this ocean of noise, especially from a stealthy target. But with quantum illumination, the radar isn't just looking for any returning photon, it's looking for one that has a special, ghostly connection to an idler photon it kept at home. When the signal photons hit something, say, a B-21 bomber, they interact with it. That interaction, no matter how slight, can disturb the photon's quantum state. While this might break the spooky entanglement, a more subtle quantum correlation remains. The receiver then compares the returning photons from the sky with the idler photons it held back. Because of their shared origin, the real signal photons will still have a faint signature that distinguishes them from the billions of random background photons. The system can then effectively filter out all the noise and say, aha, this photon I just got used to be linked to this one I'm holding. Something must be out there. It's less like seeing a reflection and more like detecting a quantum shadow. The stealth aircraft, just by being there, disrupts the quantum state of the photons sent to find it. And it's that disruption that gives it away. What makes this concept so threatening to stealth is that it attacks the problem from a completely new angle. Stealth shaping is designed to deflect radar waves, but the photons still have to physically interact with the aircraft's surface. Radar-absorbent materials are designed to absorb energy, but that very act of absorption is an interaction that changes the photon's quantum state. It doesn't matter if a strong signal is reflected back. The mere possibility of detecting that an interaction happened is what counts. Theoretically, this method is also incredibly resistant to traditional jamming. Jamming works by drowning a receiver in noise. But you can't easily jam a quantum radar, because the jamming signal would be made of uncorrelated photons that the receiver is designed to ignore. This is the theory. And for years, that's all it was. But then, the reports started coming. The quantum contender, a new power rises ***. The promise of quantum radar lingered in labs for years, because building one is monumentally difficult. Quantum states are incredibly fragile and easily destroyed by noise and distance, a problem called decoherence. For these reasons, many Western defense experts were, and still are, deeply skeptical about its military use anytime soon. A 2020 study by MIT's Lincoln Laboratory for the U.S. Air Force even concluded that quantum radar had low potential for long-range use with current technology. But while the West was skeptical, China was investing heavily. As early as 2016, reports from Chinese state-affiliated media made a shocking claim. A state-owned company, CETC, had developed a quantum radar that could detect targets at 100 kilometers, about 62 miles. The claim was unverified and met with widespread disbelief from analysts, who largely dismissed it as propaganda. The technical hurdles just seemed too high to operate outside a pristine lab. But the announcements kept coming. Chinese researchers published papers on new approaches. In June 2025, reports emerged of a programmable quantum radar, suggesting a system that could adapt in real time. State media claimed lab tests of this new prototype had outperformed traditional radars against stealthy targets. Then came even more specific, and more alarming, claims. Unverified reports mentioned the ability to not just detect, but track stealth aircraft, with some sources claiming a 92% identification rate in simulations. These numbers come from sources that Western intelligence often views as part of a deliberate information campaign, but they can't be dismissed entirely. In fact, the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency's 2025 threat assessment explicitly warned that quantum technologies are nearing battlefield relevance. The West's response has been a mix of public doubt and intense, classified research. DARPA, the Pentagon's research arm, has multiple programs like Robust Quantum Sensors, ROQS, trying to make these fragile lab experiments tough enough for the battlefield. But the public consensus among most experts remains that a practical, anti-stealth quantum radar is still a decade or more away. This creates a dangerous say-do gap. Chinese sources say they've done it. Western experts say it's not feasible yet. The tension lies in that uncertainty. What if the Chinese claims aren't a total bluff? What if they're only 10% true? In the world of military aviation, even a partial breakthrough that can simply tell you that AB-21 or F-35 is in a general area would be a catastrophic failure of stealth. The trillion-dollar cloak of invisibility would be torn. The strategic fallout, a world without invisibility ***. So, let's run a thought experiment. Imagine it's the near future, and a nation develops a working quantum radar network. What happens to the global balance of power? The fallout would be revolutionary. First, take the F-22 and F-35. Their entire combat philosophy is, first look, first shot, first kill. They're designed to be ghosts, clearing the way for everyone else. In a world with effective quantum radar, that advantage is gone. An F-22 suddenly appears on a screen hundreds of kilometers away. It goes from being the hunter to the hunted, forced to rely on speed and maneuverability, advantages that cheaper, non-stealthy fighters already have. The massive price paid for invisibility would be wasted. Detection is the first and most critical step in the kill chain. A target you can see is a problem you can start to solve. The implications for strategic bombers like the B-2 and the new B-21 Raider are even worse. These planes aren't fighters. Their job is to penetrate the most heavily defended airspace on Earth, and their survival depends almost entirely on stealth. They aren't fast or agile. If they're detected deep inside enemy territory, they're sitting ducks. The B-21 program, with its projected $203 billion investment, is the cornerstone of America's future power projection. If a quantum network can track its flight path, that entire strategy is in jeopardy. Some even speculate that other forms of quantum sensing could one day threaten the ultimate stealth platform, the nuclear submarine. While this is highly theoretical, the ocean's depths have always been the perfect hiding place. A sensor powerful enough to detect the tiny gravitational or magnetic changes a submarine creates could upend the most survivable leg of the nuclear triad. The very geography of military power would shift. U.S. aircraft carriers project power across the globe, protected by their air wing of stealthy F-35s. If those fighters lose their invisibility, the carrier itself becomes a much bigger, more vulnerable target. Of course, it's not that simple. Advocates for stealth argue that even if detected, a low observable aircraft is still harder to track, target, and hit than a conventional one. The game would change, becoming a battle of advanced electronic warfare, decoys, and overwhelming an enemy's network with too much data and confusion. But that's a fundamentally different, and much riskier, way of fighting. It trades the near certainty of invisibility for a probabilistic game of survival. It means the trillions invested to make planes disappear may have only bought a few decades of dominance before physics, once again, leveled the playing field. The transparent battlefield and the future of warfare ****. The potential rise of quantum radar is part of a much bigger trend, the move towards a transparent battlefield. In the 21st century, the biggest challenge for armies may no longer be how to strike the enemy, but simply how to hide. Quantum radar is just one piece of the puzzle, and it's converging with other powerful technologies. First, there's the explosion in computing power and AI. The faint, noisy signals from a quantum sensor need immense processing power to make sense of. AI is perfect for sifting through the data to find the hidden signature of a stealth target. Second, these sensors are becoming part of huge, distributed networks. Instead of one big, easy-to-target radar dish, imagine thousands of smaller, cheaper sensors scattered across land, sea, air, and space. Networked together and fused by AI, they could create a single, persistent picture of the entire battle space. Hiding from one sensor is possible. Hiding from 1,000, all looking for different things, radar, heat, sound, becomes almost impossible. This leads to a future where the real fight is between sensor and countersensor, data and data denial. Victory goes to whoever has the faster algorithms, the more resilient network, and can make decisions quicker than the other guy. In this world, mega platforms like the F-35 and B-21 might have to change their jobs. They could become flying command centers, or nodes, in the network, directing swarms of autonomous, disposable drones that do the dangerous work up close. The B-21 is already being designed with an open architecture to integrate new tech and even control unmanned systems. Maybe its future isn't to go in alone, but to stand off from a distance and orchestrate a robotic assault. The era of the lone, invisible hero platform may be ending, replaced by the era of the resilient, intelligent network. The ultimate weapon might no longer be a single piece of hardware, but the software and connectivity that ties it all together. We are at a fascinating and unsettling crossroads. For over 50 years, the story of air power has been a quest for invisibility. From the engineers at Skunk Works drawing the first F-117 to the digital architects crafting the B-21, the goal was to master hiding in plain sight. It's a pursuit that has cost fortunes and defined the strategies of superpowers. Now, a rival power claims to have found a key to that multi-trillion-dollar vault. The claims around quantum radar are bold, unproven, and wrapped in a fog of propaganda and real scientific ambition. It's entirely possible that a practical, field-ready quantum radar is still decades away. The technical challenges are enormous. But the physics behind it is real. Quantum entanglement isn't science fiction. The potential for quantum illumination has been demonstrated in labs. The critical question isn't if it's possible, but when it will be practical. And the mere possibility changes everything. It injects a profound uncertainty into the plans of every nation that has bet its security on stealth. The cat-and-mouse game is entering a new, bizarre chapter written in the language of quantum mechanics. The era of stealth may be giving way to a more chaotic future of persistent surveillance, AI-driven warfare, and a transparent battlefield where there's nowhere left to hide. The race between new forms of detection and ever more sophisticated methods of evasion is a story that is constantly unfolding. To keep up with the technologies that are shaping the future of warfare and global security, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching.